Hello friends, welcome to my YouTube channel Asha Edu Class. Today we are going to cover chapter number 2. The name of the chapter is Nelson Mandela Long Walk to Freedom. Question 1. Where did the ceremonies take place? Can you name any public buildings in India that are made of sandstone? Answer. The ceremonies took place in the campus of the Union Building Amphitheatre of Victoria. Rashtrapati Bhavan and Red Fort are buildings made of red sandstone. Question 2. Can you say how 10th May is an autumn day in South Africa? Answer. As South Africa is in the southern hemisphere, May falls in the autumn season. Thus, 10th May is an autumn day. Question 3. At the beginning of his speech, Mandela mentions an extraordinary human disaster. What does he mean by this? What is the glorious human achievement he speaks of at the end? Answer. By an extraordinary human disaster, Mandela means to state the practice of apartheid in South Africa. During this, there was a racial segregation based on color, and the blacks suffered a lot. They were not allowed to demand freedom or any right. Mandela himself did spend many years on infamous Robben Island as a prisoner, where he was beaten mercilessly. He considered it as great glorious human achievement that a black person became the president of a country where the blacks were not even considered human beings and were treated badly. Question 4. What does Mandela thank the international leaders for? Answer. Mandela felt very privileged to welcome the international leaders at the swearing in ceremony because not too long ago the South Africans were considered outlaws. He thus thanks all of them for having come to witness the historical ceremony. This was a gesture of international recognition to a newly born free domestic nation, and it could be considered as a common victory for justice, peace, and human dignity. Question 5. What ideals does Nelson Mandela set for the future of South Africa? Answer. Nelson Mandela set the ideals of liberating people from bondage of poverty, deprivation, and suffering. He also set the ideal for a society where there would be no discrimination based on gender or racial origins. Question 1. What did the military generals do? How did their attitude change and why? Answer. The highest military generals of South African Defence Force saluted Mandela and pledged their loyalty, which was of great significance as during apartheid era they would have arrested him. The change in their attitude was because of struggle and sacrifices put in by many heroes of South Africa. This struggle not only ensured the freedom of a nation struggling with apartheid but brought a change in mindsets of many. He believed that love can also be taught and human being is naturally inclined towards love rather than hate. Question 2. Why were the two national anthems sung? Answer. One, the auspicious occasion of the inauguration, two national anthems one by the whites and the other by the blacks, symbolizing the equality of the blacks and the whites were sung. Question 3. How does Mandela describe the systems of government in his country? First, in the first decade, and second, in the final decade of the 20th century. Answer. In the first decade of the century, the whites erected a system of racial domination against the blacks, thus creating the basis of one of the harshest and most inhuman societies the world had ever known. Second, in the final decade of the 20th century, the previous system had been overturned and replaced by one which recognized rights and freedom of all people regardless of color of their skin. Question 4. What does courage means to Mandela? Answer. For Mandela, courage does not mean the absence of fear but a victory over fear. According to him, brave men need not be fearless but should be able to conquer fear. Question 5. Which does Mandela think is natural to love or to hate? Answer. For Mandela, love comes more naturally to the human heart than hate. Question 1. What twin obligations does Mandela mention? Answer. Mandela mentions that every man has twin obligations. The first is to his family, parents, wife, and children. The second obligation is to his people, his community, and his country. Question 2. What did being free mean to Mandela as a boy and as a student? How does he contrast these transitory freedoms with the basic and honorable freedoms? Answer. Like any other kid, for Mandela, freedom meant to make, marry, and enjoy the blissful life. Once one becomes an adult, antiques of childhood looks like transitory because most of the childish activities are wasteful from an adult's perspective. Once you are adult, you have to earn a livelihood to bring the bacon home. It's only then when you get an honorable existence in the family and in the society. Question 3. Does Mandela think the oppressor is free? Why? Why not? Answer. Mandela does not think that the oppressor is free because, according to him, an oppressor is a victim of hatred who is behind the bars of prejudice and narrow mindedness. He realizes that both the oppressor and the oppressed are robbed of their humanity and peace. Question 1. Why did such a large number of international leaders attend the inauguration? What did it signify the triumph of? Answer. To be the part of the inauguration, international leaders showed a gesture of solidarity from international community to the idea of end of apartheid. It was the significance of the victory of good over evil and triumph of a tolerant society without any discrimination. Question 2. What does Mandela mean when he says he is simply the sum of all those Africans patriots who had gone before him? Answer. By saying that he is simply the sum of all those African patriots, Mandela wants to pay his tribute to all the people who have sacrificed their lives for the sake of freedom. He says that he is grateful to those who had gone before him because those heroes of past had paved the path of cooperation and unity for him. Therefore, he could try to come to power to bring equality for his people with their support. Question 3. Would you agree that the depths of oppression create heights of character? How does Mandela illustrate this? Can you add your own examples to this argument? Answer. I agree with the statement that the depths of operations create heights of character. Nelson Mandela illustrates this by giving examples of great heroes of South Africa like Oliver Tambo, Walter Sisulu, and others who were inspired to sacrifice their lives in the long freedom struggle. India is full of such examples. During our freedom struggle, there was a galaxy of leaders, of great characters, and the operations of British rule created and encouraged people of noble characters like Mahatma Gandhi, Lala Lajpat Rai, Jawaharlal Nehru, Chandrasekhar Azad, Sardar Bhagat Singh, and many more. If we compare them with the quality of political leaders India is having today, then Nelson Mandela seems to be absolutely right. Question 4. How did Mandela's understanding of freedom change with age and experience? Answer. With age and experience, Mandela understood the real meaning of freedom. As a young boy, he thought that he was born free and believed that as long as he obeyed his father and abided by the customs of his tribe, he was free in every possible manner. As he grew older, freedom to raise a family and freedom to earn livelihood started dominating his thoughts. Gradually, he realized that he was selfish during his boyhood. He slowly understood that it was not just his freedom that was being curtailed, but the freedom of all blacks. It was the freedom from fear and prejudice. Age and experience widened his perspective of freedom. Question 5. How did Mandela's hunger for freedom change his life? Answer. Mandela realized in his youth that it was not just his freedom that was being curtailed, but the freedom of all blacks. This changed the fearful man to a fearless rebel. He sacrificed the comforts of a settled family like to fight for a greater cause. He joined the African National Congress and this changed him from a frightened young man into a bold one who fought against racial prejudice. If you like the video, make sure to subscribe and press the bell icon.